Happy World Book Day! So I decided that I wanted to film a quick video in honor of World Book Day, and I'm going to give 5 book recommendations, books that I really love, and maybe some books hopefully that people haven't heard of or don't know about. I've broken it into 5 different categories, so 5 books, each belonging to a different category. Sorry, there's not going to be any nonfiction. There are nonfiction books that I like, but I'm a fiction girl. The first category is classics, and while there are several classic novels that I, of course, thoroughly enjoy, one that always comes to mind is The Awakening by Kate Chopin. I'm not going to go into a big book review or anything like that about any of these books, but The Awakening is, I think, a really important book for women, first of all. It has a lot of themes of self-discovery and how you combat individuality with societal norms and growing as a woman. I don't necessarily love every single detail about the book, but I think that is part of what makes it a good book, is that I have a struggle with it. The Awakening is a great classic novel. It's a pretty easy read to me. It's rather short. It's one of those books that still to this day I can remember the impression it left on me. I will say that people seem to either love it or hate it. The second book is a book of poetry, and I know that poetry isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I've been really into poetry lately. Over a year ago now, I was introduced to this book, Milk and Honey, by Rupi Kaur, and it is such a simplistically beautiful book. It's not simple in the sense that it's dumbed down or anything like that, but the words are really easy to connect with and resonate with people, and I think that it is very accessible even to people who are not poetry fanatics. I think that this book is one that is very, I read it in no time. Like, I'll get the book. This is one of the few books that I actually have a copy of here. I carry this book around with me almost everywhere. It's divided into different parts: the hurting, the loving, the breaking, the healing. You can see that I have put notes and markers in it. I go back and I read this. I read certain poems for different times in my life. And the illustrations in it are gorgeous. There are these beautiful, again, simple but powerful illustrations that pair beautifully with the simple but powerful words that Rupi Kaur creates. And I highly recommend it, especially if you don't think poetry is your thing. The next book that I am going to recommend is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This book is just, it's a fantasy book, and I read it in, it was probably the fastest I've read a book in a while. It's been out for ages, really, and I just discovered it last fall. I was on a train somewhere and I had it as an ebook, and I could not put it down. The scenery and the imagery that his words create in your mind, it's beautiful. It's a fun, captivating, magical, romantic, there's of course a love story plotline. It turned out to be phenomenal. I think one of the best things about the book is the storyline itself isn't necessarily anything terribly unique or unusual in the realm of fantasy, I guess, but the way that it's told is brilliant. That's mostly owed to Neil Gaiman and the author's storytelling abilities. There's a movie that goes with it, but the movie was okay, but again, it's one of those scenarios where you should read the book. Just read the book. So the next book is like a humor fun category. The book is called Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes, a no bullshit guide to world mythology, and it's by Corey O'Brien. I haven't read every single page of this book, but it's one that I constantly am going back to. The cool thing about this book is, as you can probably guess by the title, it's very, it's a huge comic relief, but it's also educational. Like, there's stories that are actual myths around various parts of the world. These traditional stories that most of us know, but there were myths in there that I not really ever learned about, so it was still something new and educational for me, but they're told in a very humorous and lighthearted and exciting way. It's so funny. If you are into mythology, I think that this would be something really interesting and new to read. Unless you take mythology way too seriously, then don't read it. My last book is, I didn't really know what category to put it in. It's like contemporary fiction, quest adventure, sort of fantasy. It's The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and it's been one of the books that has had the greatest, I think, influence over me, especially during a certain period in my life. I was gifted the book as a graduation gift from high school. I didn't read it initially. I don't think I read it until after my freshman year of college, and I think it was very important for me to read it at the time I did because of the themes and the messages and the takeaways that you can get from this book. And I think something that's particularly special about this book is that it seems to me to be a very open book. And what I mean by that is what you get from the book and what you take away from it and learn from the book and the story that is told within its pages is very much dependent upon what the reader's life is like, where their mind's at, how they're feeling, what stage they're at in their life, what experiences they've had and been through. And I think that's magical to me because I very much believe that you can go back to this book at various points in your life and interpret it a different way, or see something in a new light, or get something new out of it than you did the first time you read it, or the second time, whatever. I don't relate with every single aspect of the story and the characters, but there's just so much that is left up to interpretation. I think it's a book for everybody. It's so thought-provoking. It makes you not only think about, your life and the world around you, but it makes you think about concepts like fate and love and dreams. It's a book that can be read and read to a fulfilling extent at any point in your life. What it is able to do as a novel for the reader is outstanding. Those are my 5 books that I am recommending in honor of World Book Day. So just to reiterate, Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, The Awakening by Kate Chopin, Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes, a no-bullshit guide to world mythology by Corey O'Brien, and Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Since today was World Book Day, I picked up 2 new books. They're both poetry. Like I said, I've been on a poetry kick, but one is Hold Your Own by Kate Tempest, and the other is Born to Love, Cursed to Feel by Samantha King. It's World Book Day. Go read a book. What kind of book? I don't care. Read a book. Open it. Smell the pages. And yes, I do mean get a physical, hard copy. A book with pages and that beautiful new book smell, and that you can do this to. Just put down the tablet, pick up a proper book, and happy World Book Day! And if you have any book recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments because I am always looking for new books to read. So please leave any book recommendations you have or thoughts about the books I shared in the comments below.